Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and I want to start by pointing at this and saying, what's going on here? All of these unelected officials at the G20 summit happen to be wearing these traditional Chinese Mao shirts. So I don't know, make of that what you will, maybe nothing at all. Reminds me of when I used to work in an office and they used to do this thing called, I think it was called Check Shirt Wednesday or something. I do not miss that life. Let's keep going. So the market was up yesterday. Market's doing okay, but primarily we had some good news, and that good news is that producer price index, a measure of wholesale inflation, showed a 0.2% increase for the month of October versus the consensus estimate of 0.4%. And the report comes after last week's consumer price index CPI data showed signs of inflationary pressure abating last month, sparking a sharp rally. So this is good news. We're sort of seeing that inflation is starting to cool off. We are seeing that the expectations are above the reality, and therefore we can expect things to continue to be bullish for a while. I would think markets will likely price this in and front run the eventual pause in rate hikes from the Fed as inflation starts to come down. Notice the timing as Bitcoin is suffering, as crypto is suffering, as the FTX blow up is playing out. MasterCard, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and many others have launched a 12-week experimental digital dollar pilot with the New York Fed. So this is it. Okay, these CBDCs are absolutely coming. We are seeing this digital dollar start to be rolled out. They told us in the middle of this year, May-ish, I think, May, June, they told us that the Fed Now program would go live in the middle of next year. Of course, that's only around 6 months away from today. So this thing is really very close. It's really very close. And you can see that, this is blatantly going to be a success. It's not like they're going to roll this out and say, oh no, we want to abandon that. We don't want to control and dominate the population. So this is the early warning signs, okay? This is the early warning signs. Make sure you opt out of this system. I posted a long, and I don't know why I'm showing you this, to be honest. We should have done this at the end. Anyway, it's here now. Geo, you can see this on its way up. So breakout. Let's hope this can continue. Hopefully we can book some profit on this trade. Things seem to be melting up. The melt up crew is in full swing, and they are out on Twitter gloating, and maybe they're right. I think it's still too early to tell at the moment, to be honest. But of course, if you've been watching the channel, you'll know I outlined this scenario, which seemed impossible at the time. However, it's quite possible now that this is what is indeed playing out, meaning we would see a top potentially as high as 6,000. Here you go, I coloured it up here for you. So is this going to play out, isn't it? That remains to be seen. One day at a time. I certainly am not going to be cheering or gloating about victory down here. Once we start to get above the all-time high, then I think we can look at perhaps patting myself on the back. We'll see how that goes. It is a very unpopular opinion that this is possible. Very unpopular opinion. It's also a very unpopular opinion that Bitcoin will make new highs within 6 months of this tweet. This tweet being November the 14th. I actually think Bitcoin makes a new all-time high sooner than 6 months' time. I really do. Again, not popular. This is what it would look like. Seems insane, right? Nobody believes this can happen, but it's quite possible that this is the final blow-off move that coincides with this, Congress being banned, let out at the top, and then we go full Great Reset, Great Depression 2.0. These bullet points play out. That is getting ahead of ourselves. We will come back to this if it continues to be validated. Speaking of being validated, Bitcoin as of yesterday was only around $600 below the validation for the Wyckoff accumulation. 17.6k to validate confirmation or the conservative entry at 18.2. The dollar is down. We'll get to a dollar chart shortly. The dollar continues to be under pressure. Stock market continues to be doing well, continues to be playing out this melt up scenario, and I'm pretty sure Bitcoin and crypto are going to play catch up. Zooming in here on this is the Bitcoin chart on the Wyckoff spring. Is this, if I grab this, is this what we're going to do? I keep saying I'm going to keep dragging this down. Is this what's going to happen? Maybe. That remains to be seen. Until we lose this low, this is in play, and as soon as we can get back above 17.6-ish, then this becomes validated, in my opinion. Lose this low, and we have to abandon this as an idea. Zooming out, just so you can see, things would start to get very bullish very quickly, in line with this melt up, and in line with this melt up. With the price being where the price is for Bitcoin, with the price at these levels, the miners are of course under pressure, and this is being reflected in the amount that they're selling. The Bitcoin miners are dumping on us. I wouldn't view this as dumping on us. It's just they have very, very slim margins at these price levels. They often take on a lot of debt to buy the ASIC rigs and to run. They really do need to have a higher Bitcoin price in order to remain profitable. So they are being forced to unload their Bitcoin. But believe me, someone will be buying it. It will come out over the coming months that it was probably BlackRock or some other institution. And of course, their plan is to sell it to you at significantly higher prices than today. This is really interesting from Root here. You can see that in each one of these drawdowns in the bear markets, we pierced this orange trend line that slopes up. As of right now, we haven't pierced it. Piercing it would be in line with everything else that we've ever done, and that price comes in at around 15k, maybe on a 14 handle towards 15k, closer to 15k than 14k. 14k is here, as you can see. If you're championing 14k, 12k, just be aware that perhaps that is too low. Again, not making any predictions, not saying it couldn't happen, but how would you feel if you were sat there waiting for 12k, you didn't buy here, you didn't buy here, assuming it goes here, and then this was to unfold? Again, I'm sure you're sitting there thinking there's absolutely zero chance of this, but markets always move to hurt the most amount of participants. Speaking of hurt participants, FTT token was an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. It's clear to anyone who cares to look that FTT is a worthless fraud. I don't think anyone would argue with that point. The same happens to be true of all ERC20 tokens I've looked at, according to this guy. What does this imply about the value of Ethereum? So I'll just pause here and let you think about that. What does this imply? Right answers only. This could potentially be nothing. Maybe many of these ERC20 tokens have actual value. Maybe they really are fixing real world problems. Maybe. But if they're not, and many of them, as it turns out, are worthless frauds such as FTT was, then the idea that Ethereum is commanding the current market cap that it is, this is very, very risky. Again, I don't say this sort of thing to just doom-monger and hate on Ethereum. Although I mostly focus on Bitcoin, I am not a Bitcoin maxi in the sense that I am open to other coins if they solve a real-world problem. In fact, I'm about to get into Zcash for a second. So I am not a maxi in the sense that Bitcoin only and nothing else matters. If it's solving a real problem and it can have underlying utility and value, then I am open to that. Risk happens fast, and there's a lot that continues to come out about Ethereum that people seem to not want to talk about. I said yesterday, I've been warning Ethereum has a lot of risk that people do not want to talk about for some reason. I've made a lot of content highlighting the risks. If you haven't seen any of that, you can go and find that on my YouTube channel. I said that the Ether bulls need to start facing reality. Can it pump? Sure, it absolutely could. And to be completely honest, would I be surprised to see 8k Ethereum or higher if this is, where's it gone? If this is what's going to happen to Bitcoin, I would absolutely expect Ethereum to pump to 8k there or thereabouts, say give or take $2,000. I will be looking to put a long trade on Ethereum for that very reason. So this is not me trying to shy you away from Ethereum or talk down Ethereum. This is simply me saying risk happens fast. Can it pump? Yes. But this token, this blockchain, make no mistake about it, is entrenched in corruption and filth. This is absolutely true. There are currently rumors circulating that Ethereum is insolvent. Withdrawals are disabled for all staked ETH. I cannot verify the truth of this. Maybe this is true, maybe it isn't. The EU is making moves to ban privacy coins, such as XMR and Zcash. So, is this bearish for privacy coins? Quite possibly. But, if they're going to ban it, do you want to hold some? I don't know about you, but I do. I have already been tucking away some Zcash. I think, likely, based on this, it's time to put a little bit more away. If I have to take a loss in terms of fiat, then so be it. But if they are going to outlaw this in Europe, if this sort of law is going to be passed on to the UK and to America and various other places, then get it while you can, would be my logic. I think it's only around $40 or $50 per coin. So even if you just need a little bit, I'm sure it's available to most people. At least that's the attitude I'm going to be taking. If they don't want me to have it, then I want it. I got a video here from Bob Lucas that is 2 minutes long. Bob is the person I learned my cycle strategy from. Well, I say my cycle strategy. Really, it's his cycle strategy. I have adapted it slightly. But I thought you might like to see this from the man himself, from the Cycle King himself.
Quick 2-minute rundown of where we are on the S&P 500. Long term, looking at the weekly chart. Had a very clean cycle lower back here on October the 10th, with the high left translated here up in August. The next cycle low is not due until this February to March timeframe in this window right here. And what we're looking for now is possibly an end to this downtrend. At the moment, the bear market is still in control. With cycle theory, you tend to want to look where the previous cycles were to give you an indication of where the next cycle will end. And currently, we have a very clean structure. We have lower highs on the cycle time frame and clear lower lows. So we have to then make the default assumption that that trend will continue, that we're looking to form a left translated cycle that obviously fails to make a new high, that comes back down and continues this bear market trend down to the next cycle low to complete possibly the end of this bear market. Now, that's the default view, and that's the expectation based on the chart, based on the trend. The bear market's still in control. Plenty of macro reasons to believe that. For the bulls, what you'll be looking for first is a break above the prior cycle high. Typically, when you have a higher high on the weekly time frame, then it means the trend has broken, the trend has ended, and a new trend is developing. And in this case, it would be a bottoming pattern on the S&P 500. What that would look like would be a right translated cycle. Right translated cycle means the peak occurs closer to the low, giving it less time to decline. Make a peak here, form a little bit of a trap, get everybody excited, pull back down into that weekly cycle low back here, also in that time frame, February, March. That forms the low, and in this time frame is where the buy occurs. Even if it's here, that means the bear market is ended and the bull phase has begun, and you can buy. And the other alternative is that we fail again, we come down, make a deeper low, and at that point I would want to buy because the bear market would be around 15 to 18 months in and about 35% decline. And from a historical standpoint, that to me, even though it may not be the ultimate low, from an investment standpoint, that would be an excellent entry.
So there you have it, two possible scenarios from Bob there. Neither one of them are a melt-up scenario. So I guess there's three scenarios that could possibly play out, assuming that this still remains on the table. I think it does. But if we get one of these scenarios, then of course we can abandon the melt-up thesis. Let's keep going. Everybody gets this wrong. In the past 50 years, the stock market has rallied higher before the Federal Reserve pivots and then starts cutting rates. So after the Fed pivots, the market is already topping or topped and about to drop much lower. Remember this if we see the Fed pivot in 2023. We must be careful here on how we define pivot. I think in the context here, the Fed pivot is defined as a change from hiking rates to cutting rates. When I generally speak about a Fed pivot, I'm usually talking about the change from a hike to a pause in hikes. When we're talking about a pause in hikes, as you can see here, we get this plateau. I think if we can get a slowdown or a plateau occur over the next couple of months, the market will front run this. We'll get this blow off top move, and then when the Fed pivots, of course, we will crash as we always do. However, it's important to point out that this time actually is different. This time actually is different because the market has been in a drawdown phase. It's been a bear market this year as the rates were being hiked. Ordinarily, at the start of a hiking cycle, the markets rally accordingly. So because markets always rally on the onset of a hiking cycle, and this time that did not happen, this time really is different. If this time is different, how much weight can we put on history? That's a big question, isn't it? Here we go, the dollar continues to break down. Crazy. I'm really surprised that we haven't seen a dead cat bounce. Is that maybe coming next week, perhaps? I'm sure we should see something like that. To me, it would be quite unusual if it just continues this downtrend. I mean, that would be like a hot knife through butter look. That's quite surprising. That would be quite surprising to me. So I think some level of dead cat bounce is likely here, but of course that remains to be seen. Yields continuing to come off, meaning risk is likely going to come on and continue to come on strong. Do Geo whilst we're here. Geo, I think, continuing to push this so long and strong, no worries there. Here's Zcash, sub $40 at the moment. Again, as I said earlier, probably going to tuck a bit more of this away for the long term because if they don't want me to have it, then I want to have it, right? Currently not long for a trade, waiting for Bitcoin to confirm above the summer lows so that we can confirm that Wyckoff spring. MATIC, more and more chop. Let MATIC do what MATIC wants to do. XRP, still out of this position. Looks like we're going to go lower, so I'll keep this open for a couple of days, but if we're not going to come back up here pretty soon, then I will get rid of this and we'll start from scratch. Ethereum, what's Ethereum doing? Rolling over by the looks of it. We'll leave that for now. Again, I want to see this recovered here, this blue line, this low from back in the summer. I want to see that recovered. So can it continue to chop around for a bit? Yes, but I think ultimately, so long as it hasn't taken out this low, then the path should be up. Gold, to me, it's almost time to take some profit here. I think what we're going to do is, because this just seems way too extended, and so does the dollar seems too extended to the downside. So I think if we can break this trend line, and so take a quick look at a 4-hour chart. So you can see here, we'll add this for precision. just pull this down slightly, maybe like this. There we go, that looks pretty clean, doesn't it? So we've got our precision. Go back to a daily chart. I think if we break down from here, and I think we will, I think we'll get a pullback, and so I will be looking to take some profit off of that, draw a trend line this way, and then re-enter on the breakout of that. So that's that, but all the while we're above this line, long and strong continue to push. Apple and Tesla in the longer term accounts continuing to push those, so we have our well-defined stop now. Will not be tolerating any more downside than what we have already, so that's fine. Long and strong continue to push. Still don't have MATIC or Riot, same story. Don't want to go full exposure for MicroStrategy or Coinbase just yet. I want to see that Wyckoff spring confirm, otherwise likely we're going to go lower, we'll get stopped out, and we will have to rethink this plan and come back at another time. Interesting action from the VIX. This has made my life quite difficult. Where's this line go? You know, where do I put this line? Maybe like that. Maybe we keep it here. Is this breakout retest? Are we trying to resume off? Did I miss the breakout? I'm not entirely sure. Kind of an annoying chart. So I'm going to keep my eye on this. I still think possibly we're going to roll over, but if this starts to grind its way up, then we might have to jump in here. Something like that and put along there. So that remains to be seen for now. Keeping a close eye on that. Here's the Dow. I hope the Dow's not going to roll over. That could be quite severe. But looking at the size of this move, it wouldn't be entirely surprising to see some level of pullback sort of shake out before we can go. Maybe it would look something like this. So we have to keep an eye on that as well. But that's fine. We'll let the stop do the worrying. Got the NASDAQ continuing to push on. So that's good. Love to see that. I will continue to push this trade. Same is true of the S&P. I think we're probably getting a little bit more, a few more sessions up maybe, and then I think we're going to get this sort of drop into a half cycle low, big shakeout move. So I will be monitoring that as well and continue to update as and when. If you found value here today, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're not already, and turn the notifications on if you want to get these updates for these trades. I hope you enjoy your day. All the best from me. Take care. Look after yourselves. Cheers. Bye.